Hey guys, I hope all is well. Thank you for joining me for this Truth Talk episode. In today's episode, we will be talking about the truth about music and how it's used to control you. Let's get right into it. Music is considered the universal language of mankind. No matter what part of the world you're in, music is enjoyed and loved. While we all listen to music and some of us even make music, most people don't know the truth about music. They don't know just how powerful music truly is and how it affects the listener. While you may listen to music to have a good time and dance, music has another sinister purpose that most are unaware of: control. Have you ever listened to a sad song and out of nowhere you start reminiscing and begin to feel sad even though you were happy before the song went on? Or maybe the opposite happens. You put on a catchy upbeat song when you're feeling down, and now you're hyped and want to get moving. On the surface level, this is how music can control you. Music can alter your mood and personality and make you feel happy or sad. But how does it do it? According to scientists who studies music effect on the brain, listening to or making music increases blood flow to the brain regions that generate and control emotions. The limbic system, which is involved in processing emotion and controlling memory, lights up when our ears hear music. Scientists also believe the reason music can make people happy is because listening to music a person likes can also trigger dopamine bursts in the brain, causing a person to feel good. Have you ever gotten goosebumps while listening to a song? This is caused by the dopamine burst in your brain. Basically, music has the power to affect your emotions and much more. The reason for this is that music is frequency. Depending on the frequency the music is created in, it will affect the listener differently. Everything in our world is directly tied to frequency. Even us humans are operating in a certain frequency. We are made of literally nothing more than vibrating energy. Humans are made of cells, which are made of atoms, which are made of particles. And those so-called particles are actually just vibrating energy. When we listen to music that has its own frequency, it affects the frequency of our body. I'm not going to go in too deep when it comes to frequency, as I don't want to confuse any of you guys, but if you want to see a full video on just frequency programming, let me know below. Essentially, music is just vibration, and that vibration is measured in hertz. Hertz is the metric unit of frequency. Frequency is just the number of vibrations or sound waves per second. When creating music, frequency can be manipulated and used to target specific parts of the brain. This means music can be used to trigger feelings of joy and excitement, just like it can be used to create feelings of fear, depression, stress, and anger. Using a specific frequency can even put a person in a trance-like state, making them easier to control. When it comes to the music industry today, specifically hip-hop music's frequency is being manipulated to trigger feelings of aggression, anger, and fear. Paired with the lyrics of the songs that are full of aggression and anger, you can see how hip-hop music can influence people to act negatively. Those behind the creation of hip-hop music use specific beats with certain BPMs and frequency hertz that when listened to trigger the listener to behave however they want. This is called frequency programming. One rapper that spoke about the power of frequency programming was no other than the late rapper XXXTentacion. I have made a few videos on X, but if you haven't seen this video or you're new to the channel, make sure you watch this video after this one, as it explains everything you need to know about X. XXXTentacion was heavily into the occult, and some occultists learn all about music frequency in order to use it for their rituals. During rituals, occultists do ritual chants while they're performing their ritual. This chant is set in a certain frequency in order to create a trance-like effect. XXXTentacion was one of those artists who was an occultist and understood how to use frequency to his advantage. X had one of the most loyal cult-like fan bases in music history. His fans fell so hard for X that he had complete control of them. If you ever saw X fans at his shows, they almost appeared hypnotized in some sort of trance-like state, being controlled by the music. This is because they were. X was using a certain frequency to be able to manipulate his audience. This is something he admitted himself on a live stream appearance with DJ Academics. In this stream, X was seen talking to DJ Academics about frequency programming. He explained to Academics just how he uses his music to control his audience.
What's the point of music? Don't know. It's not always to have fun. It's not always to have fun. Sometimes it's to help people find themselves, because music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? I will before they go pull some negative conversation, they pull this part of the conversation, and then see that I'm really actually helping people, bro. Let me be detailed. At 15 years old, I was doing sound engineering, so I was playing with frequency. I was playing with equalizers. Now, I think it's it's not a sonar wave. I forgot, it's like an alpha wave or a sonar wave or something like that. I figured out that hertz is to understand the frequency vibration, right? So there's kilohertz. There's hertz, kilohertz, megahertz, right? and then I think it's ultra hertz. If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, like, if I want you to astral project, right? You know what astral projection is? No. If I want you to astral project, I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that. These out here don't get enough to go into that science, bro. These little ain't studying kilohertz, megahertz, and doing all. These don't know how to equalize, compress, and do all this shit. And the ones that do, okay, maybe your music not good enough to where, or maybe you not real enough.
As you heard for yourself, X openly admits he was manipulating frequencies to control his audience with, admitting himself he was using frequency programming to program his own audience. He learned which frequencies trigger which emotions and used it for his advantage. If you think X was the only one doing this in the industry, think again. This is common practice in the music industry. This is how songs get stuck in your head after just one play. Most people look at music coming from the music industry as art, being created from an artist. They fail to realize that all music that is released by a mainstream artist has a major record label behind them. These labels are the ones truly creating the music. The artist is just a puppet singing it. Almost all artists in the music industry have a team of writers and producers hired by their label who know exactly how music frequency works. They know what frequency to use to get whatever results the labels want. Hip-hop has had a dark agenda for a very long time. It is believed by many that hip-hop is connected to the private prison industry. For example, Vanguard and BlackRock own the highest stake in the private prison industry. They directly profit from people being sent to prison. Vanguard and BlackRock are also large investors in the music industry as well. Vanguard is a large investor in Warner Music Group as they own 10.42 million shares that equate to 7% of the entire company. BlackRock also owns part of the company as well. These two are considered two of the highest investors in the company. So BlackRock and Vanguard own parts of the music industry and also own the majority of the private prison industry. They can use one to help the other, and that's exactly what I believe they are doing. These labels are signing artists they know fit the mold they want to push the agenda they need. They sign these artists and then they have their producers create beats with a certain frequency and they have their writers write songs with lyrics to push their agendas. Hip-hop praises the criminal lifestyle. It's all about being a gangster and a criminal. The exact message that would put more people in a private prison owned by one of these two companies. It's a trap created in order to control and destroy the urban city youth for profit. The music industry is pushing nothing but destruction, influencing the youth to throw away their lives, and literally manipulating their minds without them even knowing. Frequency programming is just one way they use music to control us. Music is also used for spiritual programming as well. If you haven't noticed, the music industry has turned into this dark demonic place. While the industry has always been a shady place, nowadays it appears like they're openly embracing the evil. Since the beginning, the music industry has hidden their ties to the occult and their admiration for Lucifer, but now that all has changed. We can see all over Hollywood and the music industry just how much the devil is being praised nowadays. While the demonic influence is obvious in the imagery of these artists' music videos, in the music it's not so easy to spot. You might be listening to your favorite song without even knowing you're subjecting yourself to demonic energy. I know this might sound crazy, but a former Irish pop star admitted this himself. Shane Lynch was a part of the boy band Boyzone, one of the biggest Irish pop bands of the 90s. Shane Lynch was a star in the music industry, where he was able to see the hidden truth about it. He saw the business was controlled by the occult, and even he himself became involved with it.
The contradictory thing about you as well, though, is that you have now found God, found religion.
It's always a weird thing when people say, I found God. Yeah. You know, it's kind of, oh, here we bleed and go again.
Well, yeah.
You know, and that's for a lot of characters, I guess, through Hollywood and through TV and, you know, personalities. For me, it was a simple case of, I dabbled with a few darker side of the things. As I said, as I was coming on there, I kind of played around with Ouija boards and seances. And
Tell us about that.
do you know, it's just weird.
It's kind of more fascinating than religion in a way. We'll come back to religion.
No, but
hear about the Ouija
I'm
boards.
not going to disagree with that because that drew me in. It was
How
quite
did you get
fascinating.
involved, like, with Ronan Keating?
No, seriously, we did an album launch back about '94 over in the UK, and it was around the Christmas period, our first album, and they had it was a kind of Halloween theme, and in one of these big houses somewhere in London, it was all decorated in this Halloween theme. So one of the rooms consisted of a Ouija board room, and I found myself in there just fascinated with what was going on, and more to the point of the people and the characters coming in and believing in such things, and therefore I guess I was drawn in
so
as a weak individual.
So actually you did get into the occult through Boyzone, like, as strange as that might sound.
Yeah, Boyzone led me to the occult.
So tell me this, you got into Ouija boards then, for example? Yeah?
I got into the whole idea of the dark side and what the mystical side of things, the kind of edgy side of things, and it made...
Like what kind of stuff though? Like, were you making contact with the other side and all
If
that?
you want to call it, yeah. It's all a little bit hard to explain until you kind of knock on those doors. And
Yeah.
realistically, when you knock on those doors and they're answered, it more changed my character than anything else.
See, that, no, when you say you knock on those doors and they're answered,
Yes,
that kind
and there
of
it was.
that gives me the willies.
After years of being in the music industry in Hollywood, he decided to leave it all behind and turn to God, denouncing the industry as demonic. During a recent interview, he spoke about the music industry, where he confessed that something very dark is being done to the music in the industry.
It intrigued me, the world, the darker side of the world, the Ouija boards, seances, all that kind of spiritual tarot card reading, all that stuff really got a hold of me. And interestingly, that all came from our very first album launch, which you would look at very innocently. It was around Halloween. It was a Halloween party in a big mansion. But in that was super demonic. But for us young kids, it's a bit of fun. The record company are there and all the journalists are there, and here we go. But when I look at the way the industry has the ruling over music, now, of course, not all music is bad. By all means, it's not. But majority of it there is to take you away from Christ. 100% take you away from Christ.
In terms of the lyrics, is that what you mean? Or do you mean industry itself, people, the big players in the industry?
Both, lyrically and both big players. Both, I've been in rooms at the top of the top, which albums are prayed over demonically. Music is prayed over demonically. That goes out to the world, goes out to the radio stations, goes out to the public. And when you see that stuff and know that stuff, it's frightening.
What do you mean by that, Shane, prayed over demonically?
So rituals, ceremonies, everything to bring, to give light to the devil, to Satan. It's a satanic music industry. That's majority of what it is.
Do you mean figuratively, or do you mean literally you've been in...
Literally, yes.
And
Not figuratively.
Can you share what those albums were? Were they your albums?
No, they weren't our albums, no. They were not Boyzone albums. So that's what I mean by not every music is that, but it was on the stepping stone to that. So you're going back to 1993s into 2000s. And then if you look at what the music is today, the industry is today, for all your Sam Smiths, to your Dojo Cats, to your Beyoncés, they are so demonic, it's unbelievable. And we can't, it's in front of us. And it's something that we kind of go, oh, it's just music. But it really isn't. It's absolutely taken over the world, taken over our children, and taken over everything that's coming to the times of world crisis.
And are you talking about the messages that are in some of those songs, some of those artists, share with their fans?
Yeah, messages and the glorification of Satan.
And it certainly had some kind of influence on you, because as you said that you started to get very drawn into the dark side. You were interested in witchcraft and Ouija boards, and that led to some very dark experiences for you personally. Can you tell us a bit about what those were and how those came about?
It came about just through opening those doors. We've got to be very careful on what doors we knock on. And as soon as you start innocently doing a tarot reading or Ouija board or a seance or whatever fun things as kids that we mess around with, you're giving ground to the dark side. Of course you are. You're now engaged. You've opened the door. And once you open doors, they have the rights. They have the rights to come in. And I opened many doors and found myself in a very, very angry, very dark place, self-destruct place, violent place.
As you heard for yourself, Shane calls the music industry demonic, stating that the music industry is used to lead people away from Christ, even claiming that he was in rooms where the music was prayed over demonically. When he was asked to clarify what he meant, he stated that the music would have rituals recorded onto it. This man was a massive star at one point, like the Irish Backstreet Boys. He saw firsthand what music is truly being used for. These rituals get recorded into these songs, and when people play these songs, they are replaying the ritual, invoking that demonic energy into themselves. If you saw my video on the songs that contain real rituals in them, then you also know that artists also put real rituals in their lyrics. People like David Bowie did this with many of his songs. He was a devout follower of Aleister Crowley, and he put his rituals in his music. Like Shane said, they're using the music to lead us away from Christ. I know many of you have heard of backmasking in songs. Backmasking is when an artist hides subliminal messages in songs when played backwards. This is another way they put rituals and hidden messages in the biggest songs, so the audience can play it back without knowing. In the Weeknd song The Hills, you can hear what sounds like a chilling dark message when played backwards. The Weeknd can be heard singing about the devil. What's interesting in the video for The Hills, The Weeknd has a man playing the devil in it. Backmasking is another form of controlling the listener, and it's still being done to this very day. In the movie Little Nicky that's about the Antichrist, Adam Sandler shows an example of just that.
Hey, by the way, Nicky, check this out. What's Ozzy trying to say? John, absolutely nothing. The Blizzard always came straight with his messages. But wrap your minds around this, Jim. Oh, no. Chicago. I command you in the name of Lucifer, spread the blood of the innocent. Oh my God, Chicago kicks ass.
So not only is the music being created in such a way that would manipulate the minds, but it's also being prayed over demonically with rituals being put in the songs, as well as messages being hidden in the music backwards. So many people don't understand just how powerful music truly is. They look at it as something that they just listen to have fun. They never realize the music's true goal is to control them and guide them on a path of destruction. Our world is so dark today partly because of the popular music the masses are consuming. Hip-hop is the most popular genre of music today. Its beats are dark and the lyrics are evil. Every song is about violence and glamorizes criminality. All hip-hop songs nowadays are about the same things. People listen to these lyrics repeatedly over and over again until they're hammered into their heads. They're basically programming themselves. The music is not benefiting us positively in any way, instead, leading us away from God and destroying our lives. I am not telling you not to listen to music, but I am advising you to pay attention to what you let influence you. You decide if you want these artists and record labels to have so much power over your brain. We must protect our souls, and we must remember that every day we wake up, our souls are at stake. And we must also remember to help those who can't see the truth find the truth. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.